When I first noticed the leaves of my tomato plants curling, I'll admit I panicked. Curling leaves can feel like a warning sign, especially when you've invested so much time nurturing your plants. But over the years I've learned that while curled leaves can indicate a problem, they're often just your plant's way of signaling that something isn't quite right. Once I started identifying the causes and addressing them, I saw remarkable improvements in my plant's health and productivity. If you're dealing with this issue, don't worry. Let me take you through some of the most common reasons for curling tomato leaves and what you can do to solve the problem effectively. One of the primary reasons tomato leaves curl is environmental stress. These plants, while resilient, can react strongly to extreme conditions. High temperatures, intense sunlight, or strong winds can all cause your tomato plants to curl their leaves as a protective mechanism. This type of curling is often upward and might look like the plant is folding its leaves inwards. In my experience, providing some shade during the hottest parts of the day can make a huge difference. You can use shade cloth or even place your tomato plants where they get some natural respite from the sun in the afternoon. Consistent watering also helps reduce stress. While you don't want to overwater, it's crucial to maintain steady soil moisture, especially during heat waves. Mulching around the base of the plant can also keep the soil cooler and retain moisture. I've learned the hard way that both overwatering and underwatering can cause leaf curling. When I first started growing tomatoes, I thought more water was better, but soggy soil suffocates the roots and leads to poor nutrient uptake. On the other hand, letting the soil dry out completely stresses the plant, and it responds by curling its leaves to conserve water. To strike the right balance, I recommend checking the soil regularly. Stick your finger into the soil about an inch deep. If it feels dry, it's time to water. If it's still damp, wait a day or two. Using a moisture meter can also be a game changer. This simple tool has helped me maintain the perfect watering schedule and avoid both extremes. Tomato plants are heavy feeders, and if they're not getting the right nutrients, their leaves will show it. A lack of nutrients like calcium, potassium, or nitrogen can result in curling leaves. For me, one of the most surprising discoveries was how much calcium affects tomato plants. Without enough calcium, the new growth may curl or become deformed. A quick way to address calcium deficiency is by adding calcium-rich amendments like crushed eggshells, lime, or calcium nitrate to your soil. However, if the issue is severe, I'd suggest using a foliar spray with calcium, which allows the plant to absorb it directly through the leaves. Regularly feeding your plants with a balanced fertilizer that contains all the essential nutrients can also help prevent future issues. Pests. One of the more frustrating causes of leaf curling is pests. Tiny invaders like aphids, whiteflies, and spider mites can wreak havoc on your plants. These pests suck the sap from the leaves, causing them to curl, yellow, or even die off. The first time I dealt with aphids, I didn't even notice them until the damage was already done. Inspect your plants closely, especially the undersides of the leaves, where pests love to hide. If you spot pests, there are a few ways to deal with them. I like using a mixture of water and a few drops of dish soap as a natural spray to get rid of aphids and whiteflies. For spider mites, neem oil works wonders. Just be consistent with your treatment and keep checking for signs of reinfestation. Unfortunately, sometimes curling leaves are a sign of something more serious, like a viral infection. Tomato yellowleaf curl virus, or TYLCV, is one of the most common culprits. If your plant's leaves are curling, yellowing, or becoming distorted, and the growth appears stunted, it's possible that a virus is to blame. Viruses are usually spread by pests like whiteflies, which is why pest control is so important. If you suspect a viral infection, remove and destroy the affected plants to prevent the spread. While it's disheartening, acting quickly can save your other plants from being infected. Believe it or not, herbicides can also cause tomato leaves to curl. Even if you haven't sprayed anything near your plants, herbicide drift from a neighbor's yard or contaminated compost can lead to distorted leaves. I've had this happen before, and it's a tough lesson to learn. To avoid herbicide damage, be cautious about where you source your compost or mulch. If you suspect herbicide exposure, the best thing you can do is water the plant deeply and wait. Sometimes the plant can recover on its own with new healthy growth. I love pruning my tomato plants to keep them neat and encourage better air circulation. but over-pruning or pruning at the wrong time can stress the plant, leading to leaf curling. If you've recently pruned your plant and noticed curling, this might be the cause. Moving forward, try to prune your plants in the morning or late afternoon when the sun isn't as harsh. Remove only the necessary leaves and stems, focusing on the lower parts of the plant to prevent diseases from spreading from the soil. Sometimes leaf curling isn't a problem at all, it's just part of the plant's genetics. Some tomato varieties naturally have slightly curled leaves, especially as they mature. If your plant seems healthy otherwise, with no signs of pests, disease, or nutrient deficiencies, it could simply be the variety you're growing. Dealing with curling tomato leaves can be a bit of a mystery at first, but once you start identifying the root cause, you'll find that most issues are easy to resolve, whether it's adjusting your watering habits, improving your pest control strategies, or adding the right nutrients. Small changes can make a big difference in your plant's health. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Botanical Bliss for more gardening advice, and share this video with fellow gardeners who might be struggling with the same issue. Together, we can grow healthier, more productive gardens.